Well, this is the evening many Titanic fans have been waiting for. The movie will be officially available for release on video at midnight. Mike Wise is standing by amid the big ship's fans. Mike.
Oh, thanks, Ron. We are at the Rogers Video at Victoria Park in Gerrard, where they just put together these display cases. They've got about 400 copies of the movie that will go on sale in about 17 minutes or so at midnight. 2 cassette version, both widescreen and pan and scan, that are going on here. I don't know quite if these people that are waiting around the store right now are waiting for it to go on sale at midnight. They are certainly expecting very good sales tomorrow. As a matter of fact, Rogers Video has pre-sold this in a little sort of ongoing promotion. To get an idea of the demand, they pre-sold 60,000 copies of this right across the country. To put that into some context, they did this with the Lion King video before it came out. It was their biggest seller to date in terms of pre-sales, about 30,000 units. It only went on to sell about 50,000 copies. They're expecting Titanic to sell at least 100,000 copies right across the country. Keep in mind, that's only Rogers Video. Add in all the other video stores that are selling this, you've got a pretty big hit. They're anticipating and some pretty busy days in these stores tomorrow. Now, tonight, though, talking about entertainment news tonight, certainly if you've been watching The National, you know that today is the anniversary of the death of Diana, the Princess of Wales. Well, tonight, her good friend Elton John played a concert at the Molson Amphitheatre. Sir Elton John started his concert playing a song he wrote for The Lion King, then proceeded to take his audience through a musical tour of his varied career, promising to play most of his hits, but not Candle in the Wind, either the original version or the rewritten version he sung at Diana's funeral. He's vowed never to perform that song in public again, and at least while our camera was there, did not mention the anniversary of her death. Now, it is almost back to school time for most teachers and students across the province. And keeping with that education theme, down at the Stratford Festival, they have one play about an inspiring and challenging and complex teacher. The play is called The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. The play is an adaptation of the novel by Muriel Spark about a teacher at an all-girls school in Scotland in the 1930s. Miss Brodie is flighty yet charismatic and finds a way to inspire some students and betray others. The title role is played by Lally Cadeau in her second season at Stratford.
What he said was, and you, I suppose, are the pretty one.
Jenny has a profile of deceptive purity.
Miss Jean Brodie is a wonderful theatrical challenge. She's very vital and compelling and pretty dense emotionally. I mean, by that I mean complex.
Jenny, give us a fling for comic relief.
The Scottish accent also makes it a complex role. Special linguistic experts were called in to work with the cast and help perfect the pronunciation of certain lines by placing them in a historical context.
Oh, these are my girls, Mr. Lowther. Forsooth, they are the Brodie girls.
Edinburgh is such a distinct Scots dialect, and the fact that it's educated, it's 1931, it's highly influenced by the British, who were highly influenced by Noel Coward, so you have that particular style to the language.
The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie is on at the Avon Theatre in Stratford until November 6th. Now, of course, being young is never easy, but being young and gay is especially difficult, and there's a new show called Froot Loops, which is helping, or aiming at least, to make that a little bit easier. John Northcott has that story.
Rehearsal at Buddies in Bad Times Theatre, a dance troupe getting ready for the first ever Froot Loops show. It's put on by a group called Supporting Our Youth Project, an organization that helps gay, lesbian, and bisexual youth. But this project is aimed in particular at artists.
The more conservative venues aren't going to accept a queer artist over a more conventional artist, of course. You think, we would have gotten past that being as late as we are into the 90s, but it's still a big problem.
She's liked a few of my poems, and she laughs a lot when we talk.
Deborah Anderson is performing a scene from her play.
That's something. It's hard to explain.
Youth are often excluded from various art scenes, and then when you throw in the fact that we're queer, it makes certain spaces a lot harder to access.
The hope of Froot Loops organizers is that the show will not only give kids a place to expose their work, but also a chance to meet one another. Because for them, there isn't really a scene as there is in older, more established communities.
The bars, the clubs, the dance clubs, things like that. Things that queer youth don't really have any association with because they don't drink, maybe they aren't interested in the type of music that's being played. It's a whole new generation.
But in the end, the lesson of the Froot Loops project is that it's just another way to get creativity a venue.
If it's good, art as a medium should be able to translate easily for everyone. It should defy all sorts of boundaries, gender, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, anything.
John Northcott, CBC Entertainment, Toronto.
And from Rogers Video, where a crowd is, I don't know, gathering perhaps to buy Titanic when it goes on sale at midnight. I don't know, I'll probably walk out with the widescreen version. Ron, that's a wrap on entertainment.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Over to Brian Dunstan now with sports, and Brian, tennis and the start of the U.S. Open.
Right you are, Ron. The last slam of the year is underway in New York, and a couple of big names were under the lights at Arthur Ashe Stadium. We'll serve it up on the Late Night Sports Wrap.